Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are fit and fine. Children, as you all know, we are learning direct and indirect, and we have completed many rules. Today we are going to start how to convert interrogative sentences in direct to indirect speech. So children, let's start. Now children, because today's topic is converting direct to indirect speech, the sentence is written in interrogative sentences. So interrogative sentence, as you all know children, in this we have to ask question, and question will be placed, and after the question we will place a question mark. Now first rule of changing direct to indirect speech in interrogative sentences, the question mark will be changed into full stop. So this is in the direct speech, and in indirect speech we will change into full stop. So how we will change that I am going to give you one example. She said, okay. Now after that question will start. She said, where is the camera? Where is the camera? Where is the camera? Okay, question mark will be there and inverted comma close. Now, how we will write in indirect speech? Where she said, where is the camera? So here, direct speech, we will write, she asked that where is my camera? Where the camera was. Where the camera was. Okay. Now after that we will put full stop. So this is very important rule, that whenever you are writing interrogative sentence in direct to indirect speech, so that thing you just always remember, that we will place question mark to full stop. This is the first rule. Now we will discuss the second rule also. When we are asking question in indirect speech, so the sentence as we have seen in the first sentence, she said, where is the camera? It means after the reporting verb, the question will start. Okay. Now, if in indirect speech we are writing asked, because this is the question, that is why we have used she asked. She asked that where the camera was. Okay. Now children, I have to write over here, or I would like to tell you that few words in place of said and asked we can use while asking, while making indirect speech. So children, that is a very important thing that we are going to learn. So ask we can write in place of said, asked, inquired, demanded, wonder, okay, or want to know, we can use, okay, reporting verb. We can use in the reporting verb in place of said. So it is depend on the mood of the sentence. That is very important, because you are a language student, so you have to learn this, that what is the sentence is telling you. If you are reading direct speech, so you should pay attention on which mood, which type of the mood you are watching in this sentence. So children, first of all, you should learn to comprehend the meaning of the sentence. Okay, children. Now here ask, inquire, demanded, wonder or want to know, that we will use in place of said while making direct to indirect speech. So children, here one thing that I'll tell you, that demand and inquire are followed by the preposition of. Okay, this is very important. Whenever you are writing inquired or demand, that time we will use of preposition. So children, always remember, whenever you are using demand and demanded or inquire, so you will use before that demanded of or inquired of. So are followed by the preposition of. Okay children. Now we are moving to the third number rule. Making interrogative sentences in direct to indirect speech. The third number is questions with verbs such as do, does or did are changed into indirect speech by using whether or if. Okay children. Now question with verbs such as do, does and did, when we are making indirect speech, so it will change into by using whether or if. I'll give you one example over here children. Write down this rule. So children, we will use whether and if. I am going to give you one example for that. Okay children. Now example is, she said, did you break the vase? Did you break the vase? Okay. Now here you can see in direct speech it is written did. So we will convert into if and whether while writing indirect speech. So how we will write? That you can see indirect speech. So she asked if I had broken the vase. Okay, and full stop will be placed. If in place of did, we have used if in indirect speech. Okay children, so this rule is very important rule. You have to learn questions with verbs such as do, does and did. If it is written do or does or did, you will change into if and whether. Okay children, now I'll give you next example also. She said to me She said to me, do you want to go for a swim? Do you want to go for a swim? Okay, question mark. Now here children you can see do is there. So we will change in indirect speech. Indirect speech, she asked me, she asked me whether I wanted to go for a swim, and full stop will be placed. Whether. Now here do is there, so we have used according to the sentence. We will change that she said to me, do you want to go for a swim? Now here I have changed in indirect speech. She asked me whether I wanted to go for a swim. So this change, always remember, whenever the verb is written in direct speech, do, does and did, asking question. So we will change in indirect speech with if and whether. Okay, and all the rule will be remain same. So children, this is very important rule. Write it down and learn this. Now we are moving to the fourth number rule. Fourth number rule is, write it down children. Fourth number rule is yes or no questions. It means they are the direct question, yes or no questions, which means questions begin with auxiliary verbs. Okay, auxiliary verbs. This topic you already done and you already know. So auxiliary verbs such as is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, are introduced in indirect speech, by words like whether if and words like inquired, asked, and so on. So children, this is next rule, but it is quite similar with the previous rule also. So if your question is starting with auxiliary verbs, it means is, am, are, do, does, is, am, are, have, had, these are the words, was, were. So we are using, was he going to the market, or is he singing? So this type of the sentence, if it is written in the direct speech, you will change in words like whether or if, it is also an option, and words like inquired and asked and so on. Okay, so I'll give you one example for that. So how we are going to convert? She said she said, comma, is something wrong? Is something wrong? So children, here you can see, is something wrong? The question mark is there. She said is. So here you can see, children, this is auxiliary verb and we are starting this with auxiliary verb. Is something wrong? Okay. So in indirect speech, what we will do? Indirect speech, what we will do? She asked. She asked, we will, because this is question, that is why we will write asked. She asked if something is there, so we will write something was wrong. Okay. So it is as simple as we have done the previous one. So here children, you can see this is auxiliary verb and it is placed in the direct sentence and it is asking, is something wrong? Here in the indirect sentence we have changed. She asked if something was wrong. So if and whether we will use, and as the sentence is required, we will use asked and inquired also. Asked and inquired we are placing over here in the reporting verb, and after that we will start with if or whether. Okay children, this is also an important rule when we are making direct to indirect speech in interrogative sentences. Okay children, now we are moving to fifth number rule. Okay, these are all interrogative sentences because we are making direct to indirect speech in interrogative sentences. As we have learned that if the sentence is started in the direct speech with is, am, are, do, does, so what we will write? If and whether. And reporting verb we will start with inquired, asked, these type of the word we will use in place of he said or he told. Okay children, now our fifth number rule is, when direct question or when direct question or WH, it means where, when, what, these type of the question will be asked. So what we will do? Word questions are changed into indirect speech the word order is the same that of a statement as that of a statement. Okay children, the verb come after the subject, the verb come after the subject. Okay, the verb comes after the subject. The WH word, WH words like what, why, where, when, which, these are all WH word. So when direct questions or WH word question are changed into indirect speech, the word's order is the same as that of a statement. Okay, as we have done in the statement, the same order will be there. So now these are the WH sentences. So I am going to write, okay, are repeated. These will be repeated also. And after that, these will be repeated in the sentence, indirect sentence. So I am going to write one example. She said, now the same, she said, where is the book? Okay, where is the book? So here, this is the question. Now here the question is started with WH. Now what we will do in indirect speech? Indirect speech, she asked me. She asked me where the camera, where the book was. Only nothing changed, but we will write only she asked me where the book was. Only this much. Where will be repeated. What will be repeated. Which will be repeated in the indirect speech. So we are not going to change anything in that. Only this we will change in the reporting verb, that it will become she asked or he asked, and then me, and then after where the book was. So here the change into indirect speech, the words order is the same as that of the statement. The verb comes after the subject, the WH word. Okay, so these type of the sentences will remain same as we have doing in making direct to indirect speech. So these statement, the sentence will remain same, and we are going to repeat where, which, what again in the indirect speech. We are not going to change it. Only and only we will repeat in the indirect speech. Okay, so this is 5th number rule, making interrogative sentences in direct to indirect speech. So children, these are the very important rule we have to learn, otherwise when in exam these type of the question will come, so we can't be able to solve it. So children, let's move to the 6th number rule. So now our next rule is number 6. When the sentence or the question will start with will and shall, what we will do? We have discussed auxiliary verbs, but will and shall. So if the sentence is written, this is rule number 6. Rule number 6. So question beginning with questions beginning with will, shall. Will, shall are changed into indirect speech. Indirect speech. What we will do here? We will write if and whether. Indirect speech by using if and whether. Or if it is written in the past tense, we will use would in place of will. We will use would and should. Okay, only this much change we will do while making our sentences. Okay children, so now I'm giving you one example. Karan said to her, comma, will you give me will you give me a book? Now, if we are going to write here in indirect speech, so what we will do? Karan asked her. What he asked? Will. Will is there, so we will use whether and if. Okay, whether and if, and after that will shall change into whether and if. Whether and if, so we will write over here if she would. If she would. If she would. If she would give him a book. Now here you can see the changes. Asked, it is used, and here will and shall is there, so if and whether we will use, and because we have to write in the past tense, so would will become would. So here you can say will is become would, and this if we have used. So children, likewise we will change. We will continue this same topic tomorrow also, because lots of things are left. So tomorrow we will be continuing the same topic. Okay children? So revise it and complete it. Now I will give you one more example for that. If it is written, Meena said to him, comma, shall we get the oven repaired? Okay. Now we will write in the indirect speech. Indirect speech, that is, Meena asked him. After that what we will do? Here what we are going to change, children? So Meena asked him, that is, shall is there, so we will use over here if. Okay, shall is there, so we will use here if okay, if they, because we is there, so we will change in they. If they should get the oven repaired. Okay. So here children, you can see the changes what we have done. Meena said to him, shall we get the oven repaired? Now Meena asked him if they should get the oven repaired. Now here you can see children, we have changed. In place of shall we have used if, and because this is in present tense, in future tense, simple future tense, so we have to write in the past tense. So they should get the oven repaired, and after that we have already used full stop. Okay children? So this rule we have discussed. Now we are moving to the next rule, rule number 7. Rule number 7. Okay children? So our rule number 7 is, rule number 7, I am going to write on the board. Questions beginning with can and may. With can and may. So are changed into indirect speech. Okay children, indirect speech with change in tense, with a change in tense children, with a change in tense. So can and may changed in could and might. And rest of the thing will remain same as we have discussed with the shall and will. So in questions, if it is beginning with may and can, so we will change in the tense and we will write it could and might. So I'll give you example for that. The teacher said to the students, what she said? Can you write a passage? Can you write a passage? Now here, because this is written in the can, you can see over here, can is written over here. So can, your question is starting with can. So as we have discussed in the rule number 7, that can and may will change into could and might. So all things will remain same. We will change in the reporting verb. We will write she asked, the teacher asked to the student. So that we will change only. So indirect speech, what we will do? Only and only the teacher asked the students if they could write a passage. Okay, so we have used if and whether, as we have discussed, if and whether we will write, and here what we have used, the teacher asked the students if they could write a passage. So here we have changed only and only can become could over here, and in the place of teacher said, we have written the teacher asked the students if and whether will be used over here. So if they could write a passage. So children, these are the rules, and I hope it is clear to you. All the question making rule, it is clear to you, and one rule is left. So tomorrow we will be continuing the same thing, direct indirect, because this is a very vast topic and we are having lot of rules about that. How to convert affirmative sentences, how to convert interrogative, imperative we have discussed, and we are continuing this interrogative sentences. So children, completed this and practice on that, because this is very important. If you are not practicing, you will not be able to solve the questions which were come in your exam. So children, be very particular for your practice, because English grammar is required practice. It is depend upon your practice. As maths you are practicing all the time, so give time for English grammar also, because this is very important part. In this, all marks will be cut if you are writing incorrect. So children, be very sincere about English grammar, because English grammar having lots of rules, but it's not tough. If you are practicing on that, so it is not tough. So children, be very particular about your learning and practice. Okay children, so we will meet again. Till then, bye bye and take care.